Good evening, Valemount, and welcome to the first edition of Valemount Live and Uncensored. Tonight, we're here with Mayor-elect Andru McCracken. As all of you know, Mayor McCracken just won a landslide victory. He's going to be in charge of a new, fresh-faced council, and we're looking forward to great things from them in the next 3 years. And we have the opportunity tonight to put Andru in the hot seat and ask him the questions that you want the answers to. So stay with us. Here we go. So Andru, there were rumors of you running for mayor before, for example, before the last term, and there's been rumors before that. So we're just wondering what led you to want to run this time?
Right. I mean, I guess things had changed in my life where I was ready to contribute. A term ago, I considered, the idea vaguely of running for mayor, nothing, or running for council or being involved in on a bigger level. But really, I wasn't sure if I would continue to be in Valemount for 3 years. And at the time, I was just unsure about where my future lay and what my relationship to this town was. So I guess I wasn't ready to commit. But I'll tell you what happened. This spring, I got to work on a film set in Edmonton. Dream job. It was amazing. It was just everything came together. I had no business getting that job, and it just fantastic things happened, and I got to work with a crew of amazing artists on a $5 million film. It was a fantastic opportunity of a lifetime. So I moved to Edmonton, lock, stock, and barrel, had somebody take over my position here at the TV station, and just focused working on this film and learning a new skill set to do that. And from the minute I got to Edmonton, I missed Valemount. And at the end of 2 months, I realized there's no other place in the world I'd rather be than here.
So the results are in. You won a clear-cut victory, and we're all wondering, what do you think this says? What message does this send?
All of the candidates had distinct things to offer, and I want to acknowledge what they would have brought to the table. I think any of the 4 candidates would have made a great mayor. Don't get me wrong. I have a very high profile because I used to run a newspaper and I run a television station, so maybe that's part of the thing, that more people are familiar with me and feel that they know me. And I have a very high presence in the community. Just the nature of my work means that I'm involved with people's kids and with the community. So I think that was it. People felt like they were voting for somebody that they knew really well. I hope that was it.
So what qualifies you for politics, right? I mean, were you class president or student council president? Does it run in the family? Why you?
Here's what I think my particular qualifications are. What I do is far more important to me than what I make. And so I think there's a few people like me around. Lots of people who live in Valemount are of the same way. The amount of money they make is not the thing, it's the quality of life. I'm one of the people, for me, I don't want to hurry up and get my work done so I can retire. It's important that what's interesting to me is what I'm doing for a living, and it makes a lot of sense. So this is kind of how I'm wired. I'm wired to be involved and engaged on a daily level. I want challenge. I want excitement. I want confrontation. I want to work with people's issues and try to resolve them. I want to be in a situation where I don't know what the next move is going to be. I find that exciting and thrilling. And I think Valemount's in that position. It's going to be a thrilling time. If it's not a thrilling time, throw me out after 3 years, honestly, because this should be a very exciting time. And not by my merit, by what the previous councils have set up, and just by the way that the world is turning. There's going to be interesting things happening here in Valemount, and I'm happy to be there, man. I want to learn.
So you're trading in one poverty wage job for another, and the rest of us around here are asking for advice, and we're just wondering how you can do it when the rest of us can't survive on less than $40 an hour.
Here's an interesting thing that happened to me when my ex-wife and I, Rashmi, when we moved to Valemount in 2001, we worked for a newspaper for fairly low wage. And then we thought that was pretty low and pretty hard to get by on. And then we started a newspaper. And that was starvation wages, starting a newspaper. Even with a little bit of help from EI, from the Self-Employment Benefit Grant. It was You would not believe what we lived on. But here's the thing. After a year, we realized, wow, we've been working 7 days a week. Forget 7. We've been working, 30 days a month. You know, time off doesn't happen. You get a part day off between when you put out the paper and the paper comes back. That is a really inexpensive lifestyle. I'll tell you, when your joy is your work, the money doesn't matter. And if you can manage it all, even somebody like me, I'm not the greatest money manager in the world, and that's why we have a fantastic treasurer at the village, Laurie McNee. But even if somebody I can manage on this low starvation wage, you can do what you love. That's cheap, man. It's good fun.
During the election campaign, a competing candidate mysteriously had their election sign stolen. Now, depending on how you look at it, this could very well be a public relations black ops. So I'm wondering, this was good PR for you. Any comments?
You know, that was really unfortunate. People felt, okay, the only positive thing about the sign stealing thing, the only positive thing that I can imagine is that people feel passionate about what's going on. That's the only positive that's there on. Because you got to see, for me, I'm the young candidate, right? And as a young candidate, who has the supporters who are, you know, maybe not as muted as the rest of the population. It was terrible. I had no idea how to respond to that. I felt it was something put upon me, and I just thought, well, let's get rid of that. Let's take our signs off. I was never really comfortable with the sign thing, anyways, because it's really about who's got the money to do the to do that. But the funny thing was the people that got signs for me, people just went to Gene Dennis and said, "Hey, I want Andrew to have some signs." So it was a really great deal. And so because I didn't pay for them personally, I didn't mind taking them down. Awful. The sign thing, it's in the past. Forget about it. Let's go on. Black ops.
Making changes to government is kind of like turning a cruise ship around. You know what I mean? You know, it takes 10 miles to stop the ship. It takes 5 miles to get it turned around. This takes an incredibly long amount of time. And unless you're the captain of the ship or the crew trying to do this, you don't know how long this takes. So do you have a secret method of turning the ship around more quickly?
Yeah. Just keep plowing straight ahead. I think if people knew the amount of work that this council had done and the kind of projects that they've got under the go, I think they would have got in there. I mean, I think it would have been a race between Rita and a race between Cynthia and Murray. Quite honestly, there is a lot going on. This is the idea. We just keep this cruise ship going because it's going in the right direction. Everybody knows it. Look at the people, the new talent that's moving here. Rob Van Haften at the car wash. You've got Cheryl Shaw rocking that store for 3 years now, and it's just growing and growing. You got Sean Peltier. The guy's got vision so far ahead. We think he's crazy right now, but he's selling the high efficiency stoves. He's doing the sports stuff. You know, like this town. You know, it's just how we think about it. Are we actually handicapped here, or are we actually going forward? And the reality is, hey, with or without these big projects that are talked about, this town is going forward. So no need to turn the cruise ship around. Just make sure we don't mutiny.
Obviously, the big issue here is economics. So do you have a plan that's going to make this work where others have failed?
The trick of the economy is one of confidence. It needs a risk-taking culture. It needs people to say, somebody's got to step up for Valemount and say, you know what? Yeah, it's a risk. You may not make your money back in 5 years or whatever the standard business turnaround, but do it. It's so good.
We're ready to take calls from some of our viewers now. So, Andrew, we're going to let you answer to the populace. Thanks for calling Valemount Live and Uncensored. You're on the air now. Who am I speaking with, please? Fred, and where are you from? Valemount, and what's your question? Sorry, we are having a little bit of technical difficulty here, so I'm going to get Fred to tell me what his question is, and I'm going to re-ask for Andrew here. So just give me 1 second here. Fred, go ahead. Okay, I think I've got it. Let's ask Mayor-elect McCracken what he thinks about that. So the question is, Mayor-elect McCracken, A&W, hypothetical situation, A&W comes to you with an offer to triple the tax revenues. And in return, you change the name of Valemount to A&W Mount, and you have to wear a Great Root Bear costume to council meetings. And as well, the councillors have to dress in red and orange and do the council meetings in roller skates. Deal or no deal?
I signed that deal this morning. Get out of town. Tell me something I didn't know.
Thanks for calling. Valemount Live and Uncensored. Do you have a question for Mayor McCracken? Where are you calling from? You're calling from the Gathering Tree? Okay, yeah, and can a name? No, declined a name? Okay, what's your question for the new mayor? Okay, a pretty simple one. So, Mayor McCracken, rumor has it that you're going to be running council meetings from the Gathering Tree. So, is there any truth to this, and will you be buying coffee?
I will never buy coffee. My minions will buy me coffee for sure. The taxpayer will buy me coffee. No, I pay for my own coffee, and I expect other people to as well. We have a spirited discussion at the coffee shop in the morning, and it's a little different now. I like it. We've got some really intelligent, really awesome people who, for all practical purposes, should be on council. And we get down there and we meet and we talk about the issues of the day.
Very good. Mayor McCracken, beaver or polar bear, a national issue here. How do you stand on it? And should Valemount look at rebranding itself in order to take advantage of this national issue?
People are actually discussing moving away from the beaver. I mean, the beaver is our everything. See, the beaver, have you ever seen a beaver swim underwater? It is it's part fish, part mammal. It's incredible. Beavers, and they're industrious. Polar bear, what do? They die on ice floes. I mean, if you can't find habitat, the beaver, you don't see a polar bear making ice, but the beaver, they build up their dams. They get the stuff done, and that's what we got to do in Valemount. So I don't care what Canada does. We're sticking with the beaver.
Okay, so Andrew, you're about to enter a very stressful phase in your career here, and we want to get a psychological baseline on how healthy that thinking is right now. So I'd like to play word association with you right now before you enter your term as mayor, and then we're going to revisit this in 3 years when that term's up and see how this experience has affected you.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, then let's start here. Blue.
Dolphin.
Canucks.
Maple leaf.
Economy.
Mountain.
Valemount.
Success.
McCracken.
Liability.
Silvio Berlusconi.
Andru McCracken.
Recent edition of Maclean's magazine has a Bank of Canada chief, Mark Carney, slated to save the world from the current financial crisis. Can we expect to see you on the cover of the Goat or the Sentinel saving Valemount area in the next short time?
I think you already have. I mean, I think it's interesting that, what do we call it? This is like the power of self-hypnosis. I think Valemount's ready for change. Valemount knows that it's got the change within it. We know that businesses here are going to reinvest in Valemount and that they're going to go forward. And I just happen to walk into office at the right time and we go forward. And I look like a superhero. It's great. I'm lucky. I was talking to Ken Nicholas down at the Gathering Tree one morning and I said, you know what I should run on? I should run on the honest truth. Elect me because I'm lucky. Elect me, I move to a small town, I start, a successful small town newspaper. Elect me because I start running a local television station and all of a sudden we're picked up for satellite. And we've got a show that's makes some it's critically acclaimed, let's say. I mean, it's fun to do and it makes me feel good. I mean, I'm a very lucky person. I get I put out a solicitation for people to come and help and all of a sudden I end up with Zachary Schneider. An 11-year-old genius happens to be my wingman on Valemount Live. I'm a lucky person. Put me in. I will make this town even luckier than it already is.
You're young. You've got a fresh council to work with, kind of the blind leading the blind, and nobody knows where the bodies are buried. So how are you going to deal with that?
Nobody knows where the bodies are buried. I think that's a good thing. I mean, we need to get over ourselves already. It's a small town with lots of potential. with a rich future. I mean, let's face it. We are a mountain town with a quality of life like you can't find it. Like, go to the Alps and you're not going to find a quality of life like this, and people know it. People understand that this is a happening place. I forget what the question is, but I think I sound pretty good right now, so I'll just keep talking. What was the question?
The bodies are buried. How do you deal with that?
Let me just quickly go over that again. The question was where the body's buried.
Well, no, but nobody knows. Like you're.
Yeah, that's right.
You just
without knowing what the baggage is of the previous council, how do you go forward? Exactly. Blind leading the blind. Let me respond to that. I think sometimes that's an advantage to not know what your power is not. I mean, let's not make this a consideration of what our limitations are, but just be positive. I think the role of council and mayor, to be honest, is not. They're not money bucks. They're not developers. They can't come. It's not like a mining corporation that can come into a town and radically change it or save the day. That's not the position of council. But we don't know that. And I think that's going to be. Just hang on a sec. I got to get this.
Finally, if this goes well for you, do you see yourself becoming a professional politician? Maybe taking it regional, provincial, federal? What are you looking at for the future?
I need to ski. I mean, I don't know if you're understanding me here, but I need to ski. The last few years, I've had these beautiful skis, and I have not used them. And I can't just go to Marmot. I'm not the kind of guy that can go to Marmot, and ski on groomed runs. That's not me. Because when I moved here 10 years ago, Terry Cinnamon took me up on a cat ski and snowcat to the top of a mountain and sent me down, probably 10 times that day, down the Mica Ridge. And it's changed my life. I've become a complete junkie. And how am I going to leave Valemount and get that kind of skiing? We've got the best skiing in the world. So yeah, if they move the Parliament buildings here, or I don't know, or the legislature up from Victoria, which they probably should, global warming and the flooding and all that, 2012, etc. Maybe they will. So if they can move that here, yeah, I gladly consider being a provincial or a federal politician. Otherwise, no.
Sir, that wasn't my last question. This is my last question. Is there anything that you just want to say here before you begin your term next Tuesday? Any messages? Anything that you feel is really important?
A lot of people have given me the message that you don't do anything on your own, and that then everything has to be done with council. And I think that that's really true for everything that is official and everything that matters. And I think we have a fantastic council, a bunch of strong people, Christine, amazing. Holly, amazing. Sandy, amazing. Dallas, somebody that I personally believe is going to, rock this town. Yeah. And the funny thing is with Dallas, she's a throwback to the people who moved here, back in the day. It's like, just get it done. Like, whatever. Okay. That's the key. That's the key to this group of people here. We're all new. So nobody's told us what we can't do. And we're not going to take it. We're just going to, like Bob Beeson did back in the day with the initial health crews. You want a health center? Build it. If there's things that this community needs, we just get it done. And then we ask questions later. We sort out the regulation and get the liability sorted afterwards. The sled-assisted ski hill is a great example of, in this day of liability, making things happen even though there's no way. You can't start a ski hill. You can't start a ski hill in 2011. There's no way to start a ski hill. I mean, the liability. You've got to be a huge corporation. It's only a front, usually, for a realty game, a Ponzi scheme. Who could start a community ski hill? Well, Valemount can. They got the planning done in advance, and then they got the money to do it. And now, basically, we're doing what we're good at. We're logging a cut block down the hill, and we're skiing that thing. And it's great turns. So this is how we are going to be successful. So we're going to get stuff done. That sounded really empty. How we're going to be successful is by being. Let's skip a generation backwards and see when the people got here. And Victoria had no presence here whatsoever. In some ways, that's a golden era, because it's an era of, well, if government's not going to govern here, what can we get done by ourselves? And now it's like that, but a bit better because we've got politicians that are really dedicated to serving us, and they're on our side. We have to stop asking what's allowed and just get it done.
Are we there?
Yeah,
Okay.
a little closer. That's good. Come on.
That's all. Okay, thanks very much to Mayor McCracken. We're looking forward to great things from him. Thanks very much for being here.
Thanks.
And,
I think.
Yeah, and we all look forward to seeing exactly what you can accomplish in the next 3 years. It's going to be an exciting ride. I don't know if I look forward to exactly what you have in store for you, but we will be watching avidly to see what happens.
Good night.